Hao. That means hello in Chinese. For today's art lesson, we get to travel to China, which is a country that is full of amazing different types of art. And they look very different than art that comes from America. We're going to be using a symbol from China that's very popular, very ancient, and it's the symbol of the dragon. In China, they just celebrated Chinese New Year, and the dragon is a symbol of power and luck and goodness. It's actually not supposed to be scary. So I'm excited to get to show you some different ways that you can make an artwork inspired by the Chinese dragon. So let's get started. This art lesson is all about one of my favorite mythical creatures. Can you tell what it is? It's a dragon! I love stories about dragons. And did you know that dragons are mythical creatures that have been in stories from around the world? You've probably either read a story about a dragon or even maybe seen a movie about dragons. They are depicted as enormous reptilian beasts with snake-like bodies, scales, bat-like wings, spiked spines, claws, horns, barbed tails, fangs, forked tongues, and sometimes even fire-breathing or poisonous. This project shows you how we can actually draw dragons that come from China. And believe it or not, Chinese dragons aren't supposed to be scary or dangerous dragons. They were actually thought to bring good luck. So the Chinese dragon is an awesome one for this next art project. Our learning goal is that you will be able to draw organic and geometric shapes, that you will be able to use lines to create patterns, and that you will be able to identify analogous colors and use glue and chalk pastel to make this artwork. So I printed you off these step-by-step directions so you could see some different types of dragons that you can draw. I think the face almost looks like a dog. They're really, really cute. On the back, it shows you how to draw the whole body. We're going to be drawing with pencil first, like we usually do, and we're going to be drawing on a black piece of paper. Now, I'm going to get my pencil, and you want to make sure you use all the space on your paper. So the dragon that I'm going to do is going to be kind of like this dragon, and you can see the body is actually shaped like the letter S. So what I'm going to do is start really lightly at first with pencil, and I'm going to draw the letter S. It's kind of like a backwards letter S, and it looks kind of like a snake. Now the head is going to be right here, so I'm just drawing kind of an oval shape right here for the head, and then I'm going to make the S a little bit thicker until I get down to the tail. The tail, I want it to be, this one. pastels that's going to be really great for keeping the colors in. Okay, now, thanks to my handy dandy hair dryer, I kind of dried most of the glue. You can see where the glue has started to turn clear. So it's definitely starting to dry, but I have some white parts here. You want all of the glue to dry before you actually start shading in your dragon. You also need to understand the colors on the color wheel. Obviously we know red, yellow, and blue you should know are the primary colors. But in between we have the secondary colors. I want you to pick either warm colors for your dragon or cool colors because those colors make up a family. It's okay if they mix together because they're close to each other on the color wheel. Now I want my dragon, my Chinese dragon, I know red is a lucky color. So I could do red and purple, but I'm going to use red, orange, and yellow to make it kind of look like fire. So I'm going to pick those colors, and what we're using is called chalk pastels. Now these are one of my favorite art media to use, but they're also one of the messiest. So I always like to keep a paper towel to wipe my fingers off on because your fingers are going to be kind of like your palette. Alright, so I'm going to start shading in my Chinese dragon, and I'm going to start with red because you want to start with a color that you want to show up most. So I'm just going to take the chalk and start shading in side of the lines that I covered with glue. Now when I get to the scales, I actually want to leave some room for the orange and the yellow. So I'm just shading in those parts of the scales, but I'm leaving some space for orange. Now I'm going to go back in and actually blend the orange and mix the orange with the red. And it already looks really cool on the black paper. Black is actually a neutral color. It's the darkest color there is. So you want to make sure that you're using bright colors to go over your dragon. Now the eye, I might actually want it to be white. So I'm going to get a white chalk to color the inside of the eye. And maybe even a little bit of blue. I'll make the eye blue just to give it a little bit of contrast. And that eye is going to be blue. So I can blend it with my finger. Alright, so already you see I've been shading in the scales. I'm going to do the claws mostly orange and yellow. So I'm just shading in the antennas. I'm going to do red, or the antlers. So I'm going to color those red. The claws are going to be orange. And you're just going to go through and shade in each part of your dragon. Now the scales, these little spikes, I might just want to do all yellow and maybe mix a little bit of orange. So I'm only using the warm colors. Now the negative space, the space around my dragon, I could use the cool colors, and that would really create a bright contrast with my dragon. Alright, now I am finished shading in all of the scales and mixing those colors. You can lightly blend the chalk with your finger, but don't blow on it. Make sure you tap it, just like that. You can see the powder. Now, the background, I'm going to do cool colors. So, cool colors are, I have a light blue, a purple, and maybe even green if you wanted to use green. But I'm going to start with the light blue. Alright, so now once I'm done filling in all that space, tap that paper and make sure you don't blow on it. You want to put that in the trash can. And then I just lightly blend or mix the colors. You don't want to wipe them off. Just very lightly touch the chalk with your fingers. Barely touch it. And only blend in the negative space. Then you need to wipe off your fingers and then you can blend the positive space. So there is your awesome Chinese dragon using chalk pastels and glue. And good luck. I cannot wait to see how cool your dragons turn out. Gung Hei Fat Choi. That means Happy Chinese New Year.